Hello and welcome to Seahawks Scouting. Well, in this last draft in 2021, the Seattle Seahawks didn't have very many picks. So Schneider, our general manager, our intrepid general manager, was able to trade back out of that fourth round to get an extra seventh rounder. None of us were shocked by this, as we expected him to try to gain as many possible picks as he could. But it was then a surprise when he traded that additional seventh rounder he picked up to get back higher into the sixth round, where he already had a pick, to take Stone Forsythe out of the University of Florida. This was an indicator that they liked this guy quite a bit, that they targeted him, that they wanted him, and then they used the resources that they needed, the limited resources that they had, in order to go up there and get him. And why would they do that? What would a sixth round tackle matter? Because usually those guys are camp bodies. You certainly aren't going to trade up into the sixth round for them. There's a very low likelihood that they'll even going to make the roster. I think there's a difference in this case. It's no coincidence that pre-draft there were many pundits and draftniks who follow this process very thoroughly who thought there might be an outside chance, albeit a far one, but an outside chance that Stone Forsythe could go even as high into the later end of the first round. And what these pundits were doing was making a little bit of an extrapolation with this given player. And they're looking at the league and the way the league is moving towards and saying this might be the ideal type of new player for the new league and the new high-octane offenses that are taking over. Specifically, with Stone Forsythe, you've got to concentrate on his pass protection. He is 6'8", but he moves like a guy that's 6'4", very fluid. He is not going to allow anybody to get past him. He will not allow any hurries, any pressures, any sacks. He played at Florida, so you're going up against some really, really tough competition there. He's a good player in that respect. And with the NFL moving to more pass-happy approaches, it certainly is logically sound, I would say, to believe that getting a pass-protecting tackle first is probably the way you want to lean. But this is going outside of the Seahawks' comfort zone as of late. They have tended to gravitate towards players who are good run blockers first, and maybe if you're a pass blocker second, that's fine. This is, of course, has been part of the problem that has led to Russell Wilson getting hit as often as he has. It's not the only reason, but one of the reasons that he's gotten hit as much as he can. So it's a great philosophy change, a little bit of a sea change from the Seahawks to target a player like this. And I fully expect if he gets on the football field even next year, he's going to be able to hold up well there at either left tackle or right tackle to fill in. And as a developmental guy into the future, it could be very interesting. The one downside with him is going to be his run blocking. We're going to dive into that a little bit today, is to find why the reason is that he has struggled so heartily there. For as good as he is as a pass protector, is maybe just about as bad as he is as a run blocker. But let's dive into the tape and see what Stone Forsythe has to offer our Seattle Seahawks. To usually start things off, I try to find a highlight package, of course, of these players, and then we get over into the game film. But as it tends to be with offensive linemen, they don't always have a highlight package. Doesn't mean they aren't good players, just nobody's really trying to do a bunch of cut-ups of left guards. But with that said, we do have a nice little taste here to get you introduced to our man Stone, and that is a game where Florida was playing up against the Georgia Bulldogs. That itself is going to be a tough challenge, but specifically, our Stone is going up against Georgia's best pass rusher, an NFL caliber pass rusher in Azeez Ojulari. This is a guy who went in the second round. He is a pretty refined cat coming out, probably one of the more refined pass rushers in this whole draft when you look at some of the rough guys that got picked even up ahead of him, your Gregory Rousseau types or Onwe types. This guy had a lot more to his game and offer as far as right out the gate as a pass rusher than those guys who definitely just offered a lot of freakish size and length. He's got bend, he's got quickness, he's got an ability to fight with his hands, he's got a nice little inside counter move that I saw in that game against Cincinnati when we were watching some of the breakdown with James Hudson in that game. So he's going to provide a pretty stiff test here for Forsythe, and we'll see how he can stand up. Now, we're going to go back and forth a little bit on this. We're going to go through a couple of these, but just kind of keeping an eye on some things that I think are going to be indicators here of what he brings to the next level and the way he gets his job done, because it's not always exactly traditional. All right, you see right there out the gate, neutralizes the hand fighting. You can see, watch, pop. You see that little hand Azeez comes down with? That's what he does well with. And he doesn't just do it the same thing over and over. He'll counter off. So this time gets a little wide. He's given Forsythe basically 3 rushes. He first gives him the pop down with the hands. I'm going to get into your hands rather than get into your chest. And this is then to essentially, hopefully, if he's getting this right to then get into a bend move to get then to the quarterback. But this is where these long arms are always going to come into play on this footage of Stone, where he just kind of seemingly almost easily at times presses you right out of there, doesn't allow you to be a threat to the quarterback because he can always lock those arms out and get you a couple extra steps beyond the quarterback. We're seeing right here, though, rewind a bit here. So just locked up. Quarterback got hit there, but not because of him. There's not been a single pressure so far. Here we see this is Aziz trying to go up into his inside move, his inside counter. This is something he was really good against Hudson with. Whoop. Forsythe's right with him. That short area burst and quickness shows up time and time again with this kid. Now we got him over on the other side here. Again, the hand fighting just neutralizes it. He has no problem with guys with great hands. No problem. He just resets it with ease. He resets and anchors. And there he just, this is his, actually, if you want to know, this is Stone's patented move. I call it clearing when the bouncer clears the guy out of the club. Nope, you're out the back door. Bye. And that is just, you get a guy in this sense where Ojulari is here. He's going to the quarterback. This is not holding. He's still enough heads up on him here. You see this move in NFL Sundays time and time again. Over and over, you'll see tackles do this, especially with the edge rushers, the speed guys. They get a little bit around him, and it starts to look like maybe they've got him beat, but then they just throw him about 5 yards in that direction using their momentum against them. And the edge rusher doesn't ever really become a problem. And let's say if we look at this through the lens of it being Russell Wilson, we can't see Kyle Trask off screen here, but if it was Trask coming back into film here and he forces that edge rusher out, now Russell's going to be able to run right around through here, clear right in through here and still look down the field and make a big play. This is a lot of reason why most teams that go up against Russell and how they rush him tend to use the mush rush, if I can say it correctly. And that's that you sort of stifle your rush and sort of just slowly walk your tackle into the backfield. And like a hand closing into a fist, you sort of end up suffocating the quarterback. But we're going to see that on some of the game film, a little bit more of him clearing guys out of the club, as Ojulari is really not trying to test him even to the edge. He's almost just giving up the fact that he can't really win with the bend there with him. Again, just to watch a little bit of this, I know it's coming fast, so that's why I'm kind of replaying it a little bit on this. But you just have to like what you see from him. I mean, on this Ojulari tape, I don't think we saw one pressure. He's right there with his hands. His feet are good. It's not perfect technique, but this is a young kid coming out. So there's time for him to really further define the technique. The short area quickness, the ability to hand fight with those long arms, the ability to utilize his length with those long arms. And again, you got him here where he's got him just completely running this huge arc to try to just get around the edge because Stone's got him. I know this tape isn't going to blow people away, but again, understand that move right there is tough. This is him selling out on this swipe move in a second. If I can get it back here. That swipe move is just completely new. Look at that. Nothing. That swipe move accomplishes nothing. You see guys, I even saw it last year against our linemen at times, when they would do this swipe move, Leonard Floyd's great at it. He does that swipe and then gets around, dips the shoulder and gets around the lineman. But with him, doesn't give up an inch with it, not a problem. You can swipe all you want. By this point, Aziz is basically like, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've tried my inside. I've tried to get to the edge. He's just frustrated. And rightfully so. Look at that. Look at that, dude. Look at that. Can't see it well with the tape because this guy decided to put up his stupid logos. But look at this. Trask is here. Rest of the linemen are here in the pocket. And way over here in Albuquerque, you got Stone Forsythe basically about ready to push Aziz into the sideline. This is near the end of the game. This is after he's had a game of just giving him the business. And Aziz don't want no more. He's had enough. He said, I can't do anything against you. This is what you should get excited about with Stone Forsythe. This is our beginning building block with this guy as a player. That ability to just so effortlessly be so good in pass protection and how that should show right up from the jump with this guy's play. Talk about these prospects and And what is it they can do from day one if they have to come in? What do they offer the team? Or am I waiting on a guy 2 to 3 to 4 years down the line and hopefully he can give me something? I mean, just the kick step here. This is a 6'8" man moving like this. What is he giving him here? What is Forsythe giving Azeez? If you're the pass rusher, they're now coming off the gate. If you look at Azeez here, he's further along than anybody else on the defensive line. He's definitely, if he tries to challenge on the edge, he pushes you out the back door of the club. If you have to come back, you've tried to set up the edge with this wide stance and this wide get off. So now to get back into the inside is going to be damn near impossible. Look at the distance between them there. Your only point then is to get to the edge or bull rush him. And look at the way he set his feet. Not too wide in his stance. He's a little up higher than I'd like, but he gets down. He got a little bit where he's, dipped up over his feet a little bit there where you'd like him, but he's 6'8". What are you going to do? And he recovers. By this point, he's a little more balanced. But here you can see his head's up a little bit over his feet. He's coming out of his stance. What do you want, on that? But just completely ready. And this is where, a lot of these rushes, I think, with Azeez, you just have him, he'll have an initial plan, and this is a guy who usually has multiple plans in how he attacks as a pass rusher. But he doesn't know he's just not sure what to do. The guy is so good with that hand reset, man, on this tape against Azeez. So let's get over to some of his game film, but get excited by this type of tape. This is an NFL rusher. This is a second-round guy who easily could have gone in the first round of this last draft in Azeez. So it's something to get excited when we see a guy here in Stone selected in our 6th round, not only doing okay against him, but kind of dominating him, at least in pass protection. All right, we got our little taste of Stone. Let's get into some of his game film here. And just to set the stage, you've got the number 7th ranked Florida Gators taking on the number 6th ranked Oklahoma Sooners in this Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. That is a mouthful. And while this game does have some fairly decent players on the Oklahoma side of the football, there's not a lot of real challenges as far as necessarily that quintessential edge guy who's going to play at the next level like we got to see with Azeez. That being said, Oklahoma usually stacks up their share of 4- and 5-star guys throughout their rosters, so this will still be, I think, a fairly tough test for Stone, and just some more good indicator of what you get from him overall. But let's start this off and see what Stone has to offer. Now, on this next play, you're going to see an interception, but this isn't on Stone. This is just why Kyle Trask is kind of a spaz, frankly. He's going to drop back here, clean pocket. Should be going to his running back on this play. Your running back's going to leak out here over in the flat. This is where he should be looking. Instead, he gets laser locked in on this side, stares down his receiver, feels pressure that's really not there. Our man Stone kind of gets the guy cleared way out here in the pocket, so there's really plenty of room at this point for Trask to get done what he needs to get done, and he just sort of Trasks it, Let's make that a word now. I'll tell you, Kyle's got some rough film sometimes to watch. He got to play with a lot of NFL playmakers out there. And again, here out the gate, you're not going to see a ton with our man Stone. They ran a lot of the 3-man fronts here a little bit out the gate. So it's not a lot of a test. Now, this is part on watching this film, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this out and show you. And you're going to want to watch Stone here. He's going to be at, of course, the left side of the frame here. So he's your guy here on the left side. Now, Stone's not going to be fantastic in run blocking. I've watched enough of this film to say, okay, look, it's going to be a place he kind of struggles in. He can overcome that in Seattle's new scheme with Shane Waldron, the new offensive coordinator. And he can do that by being able to be good at reach blocks and being good at getting to the second level, nay, being great at both of those items. So here you have him off the snap, getting down into the second level. Does he make contact? Is he quick enough to arrive? Can he lay a punch when he does arrive? Just some little small things you want to watch for in this. And instead what we get here is a little bit of a whiff. He's down the second level. Cornerback just sort of goes small on him, dips up under him. This is where you've got to be better if you're Stone on this, because you're never really going to be the mauler off the line of scrimmage. You're never going to be that guy that's just pancaking guys backwards. He is always going to be a little finesse to his game. But that whiff just ain't going to work. You got to land. You don't have to lay a completely clean block and decleat the guy, but you just can't whiff. with your skill set in the run blocking game. It's not what caused this run block to not be successful, just this best moment there. Again, handles the guy just fine on the edge of the pocket. No issues there. Yeah, he does just fine. You can see there, he's just, all he's trying to do in that run blocking game there is just kind of hold up, not allow penetration. A little stunt by Oklahoma. He handles stunts great. No issues with it. Trask ball placement, again, leaves something to be desired. That tackle leaves something really to be desired. I love this tackle, though. This is awesome. Watch him come through on this tackle. Here comes Trask, just kind of rolls over like a dog here. Watch. She's like, I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't either. And then again, he holds up there again, but that's, you notice how he's absorbing contact. What he does in the run game is, look at him here. He's giving up ground. He's not driving, but it's also a play that's running strong side away from him. And so he doesn't have to get penetration. He's aware of that. He's a smart enough guy to know I don't need to kill this guy. I just need to make sure that there's not a guy getting backside penetration on this play. And he does that. The guy gets a couple feet to the back, into the backfield, but at the same point in time, he's never a threat to the running back. The running back's able to go to the allotted assigned hole and everything's fine. That's him in the run blocking game, though. That's kind of just what he's going to do. Doesn't make him a bad player with it, but it's a little bit of a deficiency overall, and that sometimes you'd like a little, occasionally, that tackle to be able to drive guys, really push, Okay, again, you see in this game, Florida's running a lot away from that left side as well, which is probably a bit of an indicator to their level of trust in Stone as a run blocker. But he's doing fine for what he's being asked to do. The guy kind of comes up the middle on him, tries to overpower him. You're not really going to overpower him. 25 reps on the bench, pro day. He's got good functional power. This is his padded move. You're going to see this more and more throughout this game as we go along. This is, I'm going to clear you out the club. Nope, no more drinks for you. No more drinks for me. Your friends can stay, but you don't get to have any more drinks. You are 86 tonight, my man. That's the thing to me that I think is going to be great with him at the next level. He's going to do this stuff over and over again because these guys are going to see this guy at 6'8" and think I can run around him. I can dip and bend. My quick first step's going to beat him off the line. And he's going to end up meeting them time and time again, and it's just going to frustrate the hell out of them because they're going to think in their mind, I should be able to do this. I should be able to get this accomplished. Here's a great little run block by him. Stiff little run block here. Watch him get down. Bop. Right there. Clears out the hole. Great job, kid. Great job. That's a little bit of pressure there. But this is also Kyle Trask, just step up into the pocket. Like everything's coming at you in the pocket here. Step up on this next play. And he just doesn't do it. Everything gets around him. There's doing, he's in through his other, he's to his second read by that point. But you could put that pressure on Stone with him there, but that's more of, to me, again, some of this is just Kyle. They're down 17-0 here. It's going to get a lot more pass happy. It's definitely going to be the nature of things here. Okay. So again, I say it with this thing. This is the part why I wanted to bring this film up. Is because when you watch him at times here, I'm seeing some occasional whiffs here in space. Now, luckily, he's so damn big that the corner's coming downhill. Okay, so this is a zone play. So he's blocking to his space. And right now, this is the closest man to his space, so he's blocking him. But within zone, you've got to break off and get 23 here coming down. Because 23 shoots the gap. You got to come back to 23. He's a little late recognizing it. Now, luckily, he's so big and he's hard enough to get around as far as just the sheer size of him that 23 is really not able to make a play. And he lays enough of a block and recognizes it later. That's training stuff. That's stuff he can fix. That's not, it is what it is and it'll never go away thing. That's something I would expect our offensive line coach to be able to get in on him a little bit more of. This is one of the worst look plays for him in the game. I'm not going to lie. This was one of the ones that just I laughed my butt off when I first saw it because I don't know what exactly his plan was on the play. I'm not entirely sure. So watch our guy here. Things start out okay. He's out with a purpose to start things. Like, I'm going to go do something. Okay, wait, no, I'm going to go back here. Okay, I'm going to tackle my own guy. I mean, I'm just going to, again, the movement in space a little bit. I'm not saying this is a red flag. It's not something that's the worst of the worst type stuff. This is very random. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be tackling his own guys very often. I'll say that much. But what was the plan here? Like, what was the plan here? And the tape continues to get better as this game goes along, by the way. It's not been bad out the gate here, but it will get better as we go in. Nice job, poor pass. Guy trying to lean into a little bit of a inside counter move, didn't work. Stunt, like I told you guys before, he kills stunts, does so in this game throughout. No issues with it. You want to run games with him, he's not going to have any problem figuring out what you're trying to do with him. I would make him at least a marginal guess here, too, that he's going to be very good with the blitz stuff. When you get stacked fronts and knowing which guy he needs to go to and choosing the proper guy and not getting thrown off. Just doing his job here. Nothing fancy, not giving up any pressures. Doing his job. There's a little bit of a bubble screen away from him. Again, just not much to really read from him in his plays. These kind of plays. Got him right here. Coming downhill. Gets his hat on a man. Doesn't really do much, but it's not the penetrations by somebody else on that play. Again, solid job. Again, this is where I'm not down as somewhat on him on the run game because of the fact that first and foremost, I think he's going to be able to handle the reach block stuff that we're going to do a little bit more of pretty darn well. But as well, he gets just enough done. This block, he does enough on the second level to get it done. And then this one, Bink guy gets out, thinks it's a pass play, uses that to his advantage. It's an 7-8 yard gain. Does he blow him off the line of scrimmage? Is he tenacious? No. But again, now that they're starting to run over his side, the running game's actually having some positive effect because they're right back over him again. Look at that. Hat on a man, good positioning, gets his back to the ball carrier so the guy can't come in late and make a trip tackle. Stuff we pointed to with Creed Humphrey as being a great skill he has. It's just inside stunt. Center chose the wrong guy there. There's our guy right there. Again, just another stunt. No problem. 10 yards, first down. Run blocking. Oh, look at that. Just cleared him out of the lane. Cleared him out of the lane. Look at that. That's a nice drive block there. Watch him. He just gets, poof, right inside, hooks him through. Clean. Nice techniques. Nice strength. Love it. Out here in space, what do you got, my guy? Ah, yeah. Yeah. Whoa. I love it. This is what we want to see. Look at him out there. Look at him out there running around, taking on cornerbacks 10 yards off the line. Driving him back into the end zone. Love it. Love it. Set up here. Kind of gets twisted there, a little weird and off balance. The play's running away from him, but touchdown, so. And Florida's coming back into this now. They're 17-10, so they're moved back in here in the second quarter. Got our guy right there. No problem. Completed pass. Just there's no pressure. No, he's not. I don't think giving up maybe one pressure in this game. Maybe I don't think there's been any though. Look at that. Look at that. Just see when Trask actually steps up there, and that's still not on him. That's on Trask. Let's see what happens when Trask actually steps up. Like, you don't get sacked, dude. But then you waited. You stepped up without any plan. So I do not like this guy as a quarterback. Like, What move left or right? He just stands there and then waits for the stuff to come behind him. Stone got beat on an inside counter move there a little bit. Look at that counter move on the inside gets him. Okay. Nice job there. Find a guy to block. Don't just end up in space blocking air. So his man leaves off in coverage. He quickly finds and helps out his guard. Smart. Smart in pass protection. We go right here. Ooh, he's coming back around the lane. Yeah, nice little clean. Yeah. Little wham block. Yeah, he'll be doing that in our scheme too. So he's got the legs to get there. We talked about his pro numbers and short area quickness. That's the stuff that's going to get you to that spot when you need to pull and get out in space. Which again, even if you're not a guy that's going to be a road grader as a run blocker, well, you can still do other things in the run blocking game that's a little more finessey, but can still be effective in the run game as a run blocker. Going deep. Ooh. That looked catchable to me. So nothing fancy in these blocks I'm seeing here with him. I mean, I'm trying to point out something, but it's a lot of just sometimes they're running away off of him like this, where it's going to the play's going strong side, and he's just got to kind of hold up for a second and stand there. He can even give up some yards. Technique is fine. His hand punch is great. He never seems to land wide on his hand punch. You don't see him out on the edges of those pads. Everything seems to be inside, which is great. Part of when you've got these 10-inch freaking hands is that when you land them, they're always going to seem to be landing on that chest plate. Oh my God, these receivers for Florida are just lordy today. But here you got him. I mean, he holds up well there, gets his man on the ground. That's a great block. It's a great block. It's not going to blow anybody away on the tape, but look at him stay with it. Look at him move his feet. Look at it end up, the guy ends up falling down on the ground. It's not by him doing something that's a hold or a pull or anything wrong. He's bang, just good. Stay with it. And falls, big play. The best runs they've had in this game have been over Stone's side of the football field. And again, showing some zone blocking acumen here. Concentrate on just what he's doing as far as, okay, block, come back out here. Doesn't land it, but that's where, again, I think, like I was saying earlier on the zone blocking and switching to the defender and knowing the timing of switching to the other defender, he'll pick that up with better coaching. He's good. That stuff's going to come along. But the instincts here, the instincts in this moment, go here, come back. And he doesn't get the block, and it's hard to see, I know, in this. I'm going to run this just a couple times to show you guys. In fact, I'm just going to stop and start here for a real quick second because I want to kind of concentrate on this. So he's in helping out initially here. He comes back out, and it's hard to see if this had the coaching tape. You'd see it so much clearer, but he comes back out to help on the defender that's slicing into the backfield and almost makes the play. Number 8 that comes through there and falls. The reason he doesn't just have a clear path to running at it is because Stone gets a reasonable amount of contact on him to kind of knock him off his feet a little bit. And there Stone gave up another inside. He's been really good throughout the early part of this game on inside counters, but then he gets feasted on a bit on this next play on the inside counter. So, and this does cause pressure. Whoop. 11 gets right up on the inside, and Stone pushes him to the ground as he does his push you out the back of the club move, but doesn't have enough of a ground to get him fully out the back, but it's enough to push him down. But the inside counter does get him a little bit. Oh, back-to-back plays the counter gets him. Yikes. Yikes. All right, let's look at this again. So you got play 1. Gets right past him. You think he'd be set for this now, but watch. Different guy now, I think. No, it's 11 again. And this is the rarity, so I'm not going to be as concerned with this. We saw this with Azeez Ojulari. He's great with hand fighting. You're rarely going to knock his hands off of you, and if you do, he resets them really well. So when you see a rep like that on tape like this, I don't take as much away from it. because of the fact that something we see oftentimes with him on film. You'll get him maybe by surprising him with something like a counter after you've been pushing the edge so much or something like that, but you're not going to get him with just straight hand fighting him to death. That's not going to work. So we're at 41-13 here in this game. They're playing kind of on their heels at this point. If you're Florida, everything's going to have to basically be kind of a pass here. He's doing fine still. We're seeing holding up well in pass protection. Great feet. You don't see him really giving up much as far as pressures. I think if I was to think off the top of my head in this game, he's given up maybe 2 pressures in this game. Run blocking, he hasn't completely whiffed outside of a time or two where he was in space. But I think we've got solid film on him in this game. And this, going off the back of what we saw off Ojulari, we've got our initial, real good view of this guy, I believe. Just a real fun player to watch out there go about his business. I think John Schneider probably hit the nail on the head as to why a guy like this, despite his pass pro abilities, dropped so far in the draft. And Gerald Schneider referenced in his press conference that many teams around the league just didn't see Stone as a glass-eating alpha male type that you usually want to put down there on your offensive line. Just one of those mean, nasty players who always plays with a little bit of an edge. Well, Stone may not have that edge on the football field, but what he does have is smarts, a willingness to get his job done, and he finds a way to get it done. Will he continue to struggle in run blocking? Probably for a bit, and that's going to need to come along. But the guy put 25 reps up at the bench on his pro day. He's got functional strength that does show up in pass protection. And as we saw on the tape, a lot of it can be traced back to a little bit of just losing the leverage game. Some of this will be minimized in Seattle's new scheme, where they're going to ask their linemen to do a lot more reach blocking, which is, to make it in simple terms, instead of blocking the man right out in front of you, you're going to reach for a guy a little bit further along down the line of scrimmage to create a numbers game over on the edge. This is part of what the Rams have done with their offense for years. Seattle's going to try to implement that as well. He should do good about that stuff. He should be able to hit those reach blocks, which are less about you being powerful and blowing a guy off the line of scrimmage, and more about you catching a lineman surprised as you're hitting him from an angle he wasn't maybe expecting, being that traditionally you're going to be heads up over the guy, and that guy is going to be the guy to block you. So I think some of that can come around with his strength, with the scheme he's going into. And the one thing I want to point out too, when looking at this guy, just to get you guys maybe a little bit more hyped up as we wrap this up, is I've got player A and player B here up on the screen. Player A is 6'8", player B 6'4". Player A ran the 40 in 5.14 seconds. Player B ran it in 5.09. Pretty close so far, aside from, of course, our player A is 4 inches taller. Their vertical leap was 27.5 for player A, 28 for player B. Broad jump was 8 feet 7 inches for player A, 9 feet 1 inch for player B. The bench press was 25 for player A, 30 for player B. 3-cone was 7.47 for player A, 7.80. So actually a little bit slower on the other 3-cone on that one. And then the arm length was 34 3/8 inches for player A, and player B was 33 1/4 inches. Of course, with tackles, you usually want a base metric of at a very minimum 33-inch long arms. So player A is, of course, Stone Forsythe. And player B, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell, the guy that was the top drafted tackle in this draft. Now, Sewell does run about 30 pounds heavier than Stone Forsythe. Penei is awesome. He's a hammer in the run game, as well as being a good pass blocker. There's no doubt about it that Penei Sewell earned the right to be picked as the number 1 tackle in this draft. But Stone Forsythe, from a physical standpoint, is not that far away from him as a player. Yeah, he might be missing a little bit of a nasty edge, but if he gets the job done, what difference does it make? And I think when I look at Stone Forsythe, I see a guy who's going to get the job done, a guy that's a prospect with a look towards the future and where the game is going. I believe that the passing league is going to only increase as we go along over the next couple of years. So this is a pick towards the future, a pick towards the now. Seattle also buttresses up against some of their tackle situation. You've got a 35-year-old Dwayne Brown right now coming into this season who's had a pretty rich injury history. And then on the other side, you've got Brandon Shell, who he himself missed a few games last year. So having a better swing tackle who can come in there and hold up specifically in pass protection should go a long way to helping this team maintain good level of play with the offensive line over the course of the season. We saw last year through the first 8 games, they were one of the top 10 blocking, both in run blocking and pass blocking teams in the league. Then they completely fell off a cliff as soon as the injury situation started to mount on that offensive line. Hopefully this year, this maybe gets us around that situation as it has come up and reared its ugly head over the last couple of seasons. Either way, to get this kind of guy in the 6th round, to get this potential steal in the 6th round, being a guy that I don't expect to be a star, but certainly could be an upper-level starter in this league with an ability to be really, really good in pass protection. That's a recipe that's going to make Russell Wilson happy and a step in the direction of maybe keeping our star quarterback here for the now and into the far future. My name is Brandon. This is Seahawks Scouting. Thank you for watching.